it started in here. Let's get it started in here. Hey, it's that time again. Not gonna talk about any sort of DMCA claims. Nope. That's not what today is about. I already talked about that. So, yeah. Welcome to another stream. Today, I don't have my usual bourbon and Coke. Instead, I'm drinking. Would typically be a peach. It's the same brand, but it's a different fruit. It's not a peach. It's honestly not sure. I think it's like orange and grape. It doesn't really taste like that. It just tastes sweet and good. I don't know what it is, but it is good. It's good. I like it. It's kind of become my new favorite. I like the peach still, but actually the weird thing is about those peach drinks is that they kind of have a weird smell to them. Like, it's like an after smell. It's like an aftertaste, but an after smell. Because they smell pretty peachy, but then there's also kind of like a weird hint of something else in there that just smells funky. Anywho, yeah, I've gotten a lot of stuff done this past week. Coincidentally, I, as usual, forgot to show off something last time during the... Oh, hey, but I'm already jumping into... that's how eager I am to show off game stuff. But, yeah, okay. Let me say this right now. Let me continue what I was saying just a moment ago. I did forget to do something last stream that I said I was gonna do, but I didn't do it. Go figure, that's gonna happen probably every time. I said I was going to show off the way that my shop works, which is actually really pretty standard for an RPG game, but I'm proud of my problem-solving skills, and so I wanted to show it off anyways. But I forgot to, but that's okay because I've extended, features of the town, so I have more to show off. So I'll just show off all of those bits. I was working on the church. All right, let me finish what I'm saying. I keep interrupting myself. I was working on the church. I'm not going to show this right now because we have something else to look at. But anyways, I was working on the church. I was hoping to have it done before the stream, but I ran into a number of problems. Did get those solved, but unfortunately, because of those problems, it wound up taking up so much time getting them solved that I was not able to finish the church before this stream. Oh well, it will be finished by next week, that's for sure. But before we even go into that, I'm going to move this over to this screen. I'm going to switch cameras, and we are going to take a look at YouTube. How have my stats been doing? Well, first of all, you'll see I've lost some subscribers, so... c'est la vie. So, you can see that, of course, there's my most recent video that I will not be talking about. Go watch it. I had a DMCA claim. That's all that needs to be said. So, yeah, that just released last night at 9 o'clock. 6 views in about... Was that last night? Yeah, that was last night, right? I don't know. I don't remember if that was last night. I think that was last night. So 6 views in about 24 hours. I think that's about average. But we're not... Our experiment right now is not really looking at that. It's going to be looking at the current live streams. I just realized I forgot to change the... thumbnail for this stream too. It's so much fucking shit that I have to keep up with. There's like, it's all like, I think that's the problem, is that I kind of just think of all of it being like copy and pasted from the previous stream, that I tend to forget that there are still some things that I have to change between each stream. And yeah, I just forgot to change the thumbnail, even though I remember to change the description information. So anyways, let me change that real fast. Where are my thumbnails? Here they are. So last time was, okay, so it should be this one. Did it change it? It didn't look like it changed it. Oh, that's because oh, okay, it should be this one. There we go. All right, that should have changed it. Okay, so anyways, here we are. We're looking at the my back room here, and so there's been some interesting developments, but they're also kind of expected and unfortunate. So if we look at the YouTube views, you'll see that compared to last week, where I had I think this number went up a little bit since last time we talked about it, but not a lot. So let's just say, I think it was, we'll say 23. Yeah, because that's where this one was. Let's just say 23. So this one was at about 23, I think, maybe, possibly, views, which was, you know, pretty good. And because it also had so many views on it, I was able to get some more information about the analytics and information like that. And we could see how user watch time kind of quickly dropped off, and then eventually completely 100% fell off after a certain point. So, which is pretty unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. Now, one thing I did mention was the click-through rate. Seemed a little bit low, and that I had a feeling that this was mostly going to be like my own subscribers seeing it in their subscription boxes and clicking on it, rather than YouTube recommending it to people and them clicking on it. So, and I believe that was right, because the other thing I mentioned is that, you know, this was the first stream where I had changed the thumbnail, and well, really, it was just that. I mean, that was probably the most important part, was that I changed the thumbnail. I think that was going to be the most eye-catching part. And I think a lot of my subscribers know that whenever there is a certain thumbnail, because like all my live streams prior to this point didn't have their own thumbnail, but instead I just used, you know, a screen grab from some random point in the video. And so most of my subscribers would know that if there was a custom thumbnail made for the video, then there would be something special about that video as compared to the rest of the live streams. So I think really the biggest thing was the thumbnail, and the other thing I had mentioned was that eventually those people will realize that it's mostly just kind of a template thumbnail that is just going to be continued to be used throughout, and therefore interest will fall off quickly. It fell off quicker than I expected, because as you can see here, we're down to 12 views, which is about less than half than last time. And also, I think I need about 20 views to even get the analytics for watch time. So I don't even have that information here. I'm not sure if the... Okay, yeah, so here we can see that the impressions click-through rate is fairly low. Now, there was, to kind of show this, like last time I thought, I talked about believing that the normal kind of average click-through rate is actually generally around 3%, 3 or 5%, I couldn't quite remember. And I didn't really have any way to verify this. However, I realized I have a fairly successful video. I have a few successful videos that I could pull data from. And actually, I'm going to use Believe, because I actually believe that Believe gets recommended quite regularly through the algorithm. I know it doesn't have a lot of views, so it doesn't really reflect that. But, you know, I mean, relatively speaking, the number of views that it has is much higher than most of my other videos. So, you know, we can look at things here. Now, this is, I think, fairly typical for, like... well, for a couple of things. This is fairly typical for a fairly successful YouTuber, is that you'll see this sharp drop-off in viewership, but then a pretty steady watch-through, because these are the people who have basically committed at this point. It is interesting that you can see the chapters where people have either jumped to a certain chapter or have either dropped off at a certain chapter. So these would be the different songs here. So you can see that pretty much by this point here, these are going to be the people that are committed to listening through to the whole album. And it does kind of trail off here at the end, and that's because the last, I don't know, I think like 5 minutes of the album is just a very, 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 very slow fade out. So, yeah, so that makes sense right there as well. So what you can see is if we go to reach, that the impressions click-through rate is 3.1%, which is about what I was thinking that it was for a fairly typical video. So we can see that the things that I am doing with my live streams are not getting as much attention. So there needs to be some sort of adjustment there. And I believe that probably comes down to a combination of things. First of all, the title. The main thing that I think will help with the title is just removing the number. Because as I mentioned in the previous stream, is that when it looks like it's a series, people think that they're going to need to watch from the beginning of that series to understand everything that's going on. And when we're on number 17 now is the one that we're streaming, and so when there's 17 parts, each one being generous and saying is an hour long, that's a pretty big commitment that people may not want to do. So if I remove the number, they may not realize that it's been an ongoing series, and therefore may be more willing to click onto the video, which will hopefully increase that impressions / click-through rate. So anyways, yeah. The other thing is probably the thumbnail. I think the thumbnail that I have now is okay, other than the fact that it's mostly just a template and gets recycled. So there's that. I could probably improve the thumbnail with some slightly more eye-catching, high contrast kind of stuff, but we'll see about that. And then maybe other stuff, some other adjustments in the title as well. So we'll give that a look later. As I mentioned, I wanted to keep this experiment going for 4 streams just to see what kind of happens. So there was last stream, or sorry, the stream before last stream and this stream. And then I'm going to do one more stream after this one that will continue this same kind of pattern. And I've already written down a handful of content ideas and some improvements I'll be attempting to try after this little 4-week experiment happens, and we'll go into another 4-week experiment and see what we can discover there. Now, something I just kind of thought about, I mentioned that I have a handful of fairly popular videos. I have one video that is viral, in fact, that's going to have terrible watch time, but we can look at the click-through rate of that video, and I think it might show something interesting. So let's go to that video, and it's going to be way back here in my videos, all the way back to here. More coffee, more green tea, 10-hour gachuma wa usagi desu ka? Right here, this video has 112,000 views and should give us a fairly interesting insight into, well, a lot of information. First of all, as you can see with a 10-hour video, why there's a random peak here at 2 hours and 54 minutes, I don't know. Maybe someone in the comment linked this timestamp here and people are just clicking on that comment. But otherwise, yeah, it drops off. Not as fast as I would think. We're still into is that 6 minutes there? I don't know, which is way longer than I would expect for like a 10-second loop. That is, people are sticking around way too long for that loop, but whatever, anyways. So you can see that, of course, this is going to have terrible watch time on it. But if we go to the reach, memes, man, memes. Look at that impression click-through rate right there. That's it's pretty impressive. So you can see that it has pretty high impressions click-through rate at 13.3%. I do believe that's probably on the higher end of things. So whatever this video is doing, I have to imitate it if I want success, I guess, which means memes. It is interesting that it gets shared a lot on Discord, I guess. Sure. It's kind of interesting seeing some of these things down here. I didn't even think about like checking this video's stats until just now on this live stream, because of course it's going to be kind of interesting information. So yeah, we could probably look at other videos as well. We could probably go to like one of my anime reviews. They have been privated now, and I wonder if the stats on them would be accurate because I privated them. But like my Neptunia anime review, which I really hate, but I began to hate it more and more, especially because of it managed to get a pretty reasonable amount of views. So let's take a look at this one and see what information we get. So yeah, you can see that, oh, this is in the last 28 days. So yeah, of course it's not going to have a lot of information about it. So what about reach? Okay, so this is only going to be in the last 28 days. So how about lifetime? So you can see, I'm not sure why there are some views here. It kind of looks like there's tiny little bumps in the graph right around here. And that's interesting. I'm not sure why those are there, but I think it was probably about here that I actually cut off, you know, I made it private. And you can see it had that same kind of, you know, we're in that range of 3 to 5%, like I was talking about. And I think Neptunia tends to be a fairly popular topic among anime. So I think it would have a slightly above average click-through rate just because of the topic. Let's look at a less popular topic, but still high view count, like Gachumanwa. We can see here, if we go to reach and go to lifetime, its impression click-through rate, 2.8%. So yeah, that's more in line with what I was talking about. And that 2.8% is probably low simply because the thumbnail is not the best. What I probably should have done is probably make Cocoa in the background there pop out more, you know, get people fanboying over the anime girl a little bit more, and probably put my branding behind it. And that probably would have increased the click-through rate slightly more. So anyways, yeah, so there's the YouTube experiment so far. It's not going well. you know, living the dream of getting lots of viewers is it's never been obtainable for me, really. It's never been obtainable, though it might have happened if I had ever decided to stick with the anime review things, because as you could see, they got pretty reasonable views. I mean, relative to my channel size, the viewership was pretty reasonable. There is a review missing from this channel because it got removed. But yeah, you know, the viewership is not absolutely terrible for these anime reviews. And if I had stuck with them, you know, I might have been able to live the YouTuber dream. I don't know how well I'd be doing, but probably, you know, I would be better than I am now. That's for sure. And a stagnant, you know, around 800 subscribers, plus or minus 5. So we're about to cross that. We're about to finally have a negative trend here with that 796. You know, like I said, it's plus or minus 5. So once we get to 795, we're hitting the bottom of that plus or minus 5 threshold. And then once we go to 794, then suddenly we've broken the trend and we've gone negative. Oh my God. So look out for that when my stagnant trend finally is no longer stagnant and is actually a negative trend. Anyways, yeah, that's enough looking at this YouTube experiment. We'll look at it some more next week, see how this video does. My predictions are that it's either going to be doing the same or worse than this video. Probably, I'm leaning more towards worse than last week's video, because I think there's going to be a downward trend in viewership once they, again, the main thing that I think people are clicking on is because of the change in thumbnail, and they're realizing that it's really just the same live stream kind of stuff. And with that thumbnail being a template, they are mostly just going to ignore it, and more people will start to ignore it. So yeah, I think next time we'll probably have a couple less viewers than last time's stream. Those are my predictions. We'll see how it goes. But that's going to be enough of that for today. Let me move that back over there. Bring up the live streaming YouTube studio thing. And OBS. Alright, so back into game dev here. So there's been a handful of changes. Let's go over all the different changes that I've done. So I've been working more and more progressively on the town. I don't know why I'm zooming out. It's not like I've done any new work to the layout. The layout is pretty well established, so there's nothing has changed there. However, I think last time I talked about finishing the item. I know for sure I talked about finishing the item shop because I promised that I would show off how the shop works, but I never actually did that. So yeah, the shop is done. The library is I think 100% done, sort of. I'm gonna come back to that in just in a moment. Hopefully I remember. And then the church is done, as sort of done. As I said, I actually didn't have time to finish it, but I've implemented the main system that the player will interact in the church. So that means I've gone through the introduction of the of Truett, who is the priest of the church. So I've gone through Truett's introduction, and actually, boy, man, his dialogue has had like 3 drafts. I don't know why. I have no idea why I couldn't settle on what it was that I wanted him to say for his introduction, but because first of all, I haven't even really cared that much about the writing. Like, I haven't been that particular about the writing. I've cared about. I don't want to make it sound like it's just been throwaway garbage that I've written. Like, that's not true at all. But I mean, it hasn't been like a high priority. I've been telling myself that, you know, the scope of this game is pretty low, so, you know, I don't need to really have like the most in-depth writing. You know, I don't worry about it so much. I just kind of let the thoughts flow and just make sure that there's some character consistencies and the main story plot is there. And that's really it. So I don't know why, but I guess I just kind of struggled to get Truett just right. But I finally settled on something that I think I'm pretty happy with. I think it's final for him. I don't imagine myself changing it. So anyways, got Truett set up and got it so that way now after you've gone through the introduction, you can talk to him and access that main system for progressing your character. And yeah, it's the logic has been implemented, but there's missing dialogue, and there's also it's about adding skills to the player. That's what it is. Let me just say that. I'll show you that off. I don't know why I'm being secretive about it. That's what it is he'll give you new skills. So the logic for how you get new skills has been implemented. However, it's missing dialogue, and it's also missing 2 of the 3 options currently. You can select them, but you don't get a skill. And like I said, that's just because I ran into a few different problems. One with just the system logic itself and how to execute that, to also how the skills work, which the skills is something I want to show off as well, and that's something that I worked on quite extensively throughout this week, in addition to all the dialogue and stuff. So yeah, our new skills are down here. We have Cauterize the Hurt, Heckle and Harass, and Peerless Resilience. Cauterize the Hurt also actually is sort of like, I guess kind of like a buffer skill where it like buffers an ability. So when you have Cauterize the Hurt active, you also gain access to Sober Stabilizer. So yeah, so in a sense, I guess it's actually 4 skills. You have Cauterize the Hurt, Heckle and Harass, Peerless Resilience, and Sober Stabilizer. So I'll talk more about these in just a moment. But actually, I guess I could talk about them now. I don't know if there's anything else I want to talk about at this time. You know, I don't see why we can't just go through like a short little demo here. Why not? What I will do, let's see, is that going to be okay? Yeah, I think if I just, let's just run it from a new game. The volume's okay. It's loud in my headphones though, so I'm going to turn this down in my headphones. It's still really loud. It's all right. It's still a little bit loud in my headphones, but that's okay. We'll start with a new game. I have Fidel starting here because I can't start her in town because there's like intro events that happen right away. But that's why I have this debug skip event. But I have to be somewhere where the events aren't existing, so I just have her start here, and then I can access the skip event thing, which will basically skip all the intro stuff. So anyways, yeah, first, before I forget, why don't I just go ahead and show off the town. So one thing I had mentioned last time is that each one of these characters has like a positive and well, I wouldn't say negative, but like a positive benefit to the player if they've done certain actions. If they've done certain actions, they will have a positive response. So I'm going to do a couple of those actions now. And one of those things was, of course, collecting that piece of the manuscript. I'm also going to take a moment here to talk to Joy. I'm revising some of Joy's logic. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Joy, okay. I'm revising some of Joy's logic. So the first time I talked to her, nothing happens. But the second time I talk to her, then it's just the standard information before. What I've done to adjust her logic is that I want her to have a standard character intro, kind of like all the other characters in this game. So, you know, the first time you meet them, there's you know, a bit of dialogue to explain who they are, kind of give you a little bit of backstory before you access their mechanic. So Joy's mechanic is telling the player what the current happiness rating is of the town. And so before the player accesses that information, I thought it would be good to have a little bit of an intro. So that first nothing when I tapped on her is intended to be the introduction where she would talk to me and introduce herself and blah, blah, blah. The only reason why I wanted to do that is just because, you know, like, it just felt a little bit out of place in this game when all the other characters have an introduction, but she doesn't. It felt very video gamey for her to just suddenly just go right into telling you this information, and it didn't make her feel like she was part of the community. I think if it was like a grand RPG, you know, like Golden Sun, Final Fantasy, whatever, with lots and lots of NPCs, it's totally fine for them to just kind of jump into giving the player information without having a whole introduction. The thing is, with my game, is that there's a very limited number of NPCs, so it just felt appropriate that she has an introduction. So I am revising that. On that note, I also made a huge revision to the back end of how these hints work. I am very proud of this, and it is such a unimportant mechanic, and yet I have just gone through so much work to make this hint system way more usable. And the funny thing is I feel like not many people would even use it. So right now it doesn't matter. She'll just always say the same thing because the town is rank 1. Here's what I'm gonna do. First, I'm gonna take a sip of my drink. That's number 1. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my phone. I'm gonna move it. I have a stand for it right here. I'm gonna move it right in front of me. I'm also. I have a message on there. I'm going to make a note. I'm going to say, talk about Joy logic. There we go. And I'm not even going to lock my phone. I'm just going to leave it there. It's going to keep harassing me about checking this message if I don't do it. So anyways, yeah, so it's right there on my phone, and I'm not even going to lock the screen. I'm just going to leave it on the whole time like that, and it's going to be right in front of me, and hopefully I don't forget. We'll see how well that works. Anyways, so yeah, so right now she's just going to give the standard hint. Like this hasn't, right now the way it appears is no different than how it was before. You will notice something happens though. So first she says the rating of the town as usual, but then something kind of weird happens, and then she says the hint. that is sort of letting you know that something is happening with the logic. So I'll show that off later. I'll first show it off and let you guys kind of guess what I've done. But before I can do that, I want to go through all of the townspeople first and show off how these systems work in the game. So let me, go through the townspeople first, and then we'll mess with Joy. So, so there's, of course, standard RPG stuff. The typical way of improving your stats is going to be through leveling up. And why am I talking about this now? Let's talk about the stats stuff. Let's talk about the stats stuff when I get to the library. Let's talk about item shop first. So there's only one item shop. Now, sometimes in RPGs, what you would have is you'd have multiple different shops for multiple different types of items. However, my game there's only one shop, and so I needed to be able to sort the items based on what type they are. And by the way, I'm not reading the dialogue because I read it last stream. So if you want to read the dialogue, either just like pause the video and go through it frame by frame as I fast forward through it, or watch the previous stream. Anyways, there are a handful of items there's a lot of items in the game when it's all just in one list. And so it became a bit cumbersome. So I wanted to separate the items into different categories, and there are shop plugins that I could get for RPG Maker that would probably allow me to do that. Like there'd be separate tabs for the shop that I could just scroll over to for different types of categories, but simple is best, and I just wanted to go with a non-plugin, fairly vanilla method of just separating the categories, because I don't think it's really the biggest, most important thing to have the shop organized. It's not worth the overhead of adding in a plugin for just the shop, in my opinion. If this game was like a much bigger project, then maybe I would want to revise the shop with its own UI and have that kind of functionality built into the shop. But since the scope of this game is fairly small, it just seems fair that I don't bother with that kind of thing. So now that we've gone through all the dialogue, now I can talk to Felix, and now you can see, here we go. Now there is just a simple choice box for buy groceries or buy sundries, where you can select if you want to buy stuff like this. So these are your healing items. You have your latte, a nice compliment, and lemonade. And actually, I probably should revise the logic here, where before it shouldn't just back out of the shopping, but should take you back to this choice. So I'll probably make that adjustment. In fact, actually, just while I have that, I'm going to add that to my talk about joy logic here. We'll just call it add jump to label Felix. I'll know what that means. Hopefully. There is a good chance I'll have no idea what I've just written. Alright, and then if we go to buy sundries, then you can see this is like gear and equipment. Of course, right now there is no gear other than just the confidence booster there. After we show off Joy's logic, we can come back to the shop and show that off as well. So, show off more gear being there. But now that that's done, let's go over to the library. This is the next person that we want to talk to. And so one thing is with the library that I've added is that the music gets quieter when you enter. I thought that was just a nice touch. So, as I was saying before, in typical RPGs, as you level up, your stats will increase, of course, and that's your standard thing. But also in more Western RPGs, you usually have stat allocation, where, like, as you level up, you get points that you can allocate towards stats. I've mentioned this before, where, kind of similar to Zelda's, like, Piece of Heart mechanic, where you get 4 pieces of heart and you get a new heart, more health. I wanted to implement that system into my game. However, it's a little bit different, where it's a combination of Zelda's Piece of Heart system and Western RPG's point allocation system for upgrading. So basically, you get 4 pieces of this manuscript for the librarian, and you bring it to him. And after you bring it to him, you will get a choice of a book that will, when you read the book, will give a permanent increase to whatever stat that it is for whatever book it is that you've chosen. So that way, it's kind of like allocating points to your stats to benefit Fiddle. Here's the librarian. I guess we can read through the dialogue for him as well. I don't think any of this is really major spoilers, just simply because this is all like right at the beginning of the game. It's also not like major plot points either. It's just the introductions for the characters. Also, it's not like many people watch these videos anyways. So, just like before, I'm not going to use that acting degree, which I don't have, to act these out. I'm just going to go ahead and read them. So, shh. Hey, my name's Fiddle. What's your name, Mr. Shushi? Huh? What's that? Speak up. I can't hear you. I said, hey, shh. Well, how am I supposed to talk to you? This feels like one of those paradox things. That, little ass, is what we call a puzzle. Does that mean you're doing this on purpose? Was that a porpoise? I don't have a porpoise. Don't talk about yourself like that. I'm sure you have a purpose. Does this look like an aquarium to you? There's no purpose here. What? No, libraries are very important. They definitely have a purpose. Or wait, you said an aquarium? Is this an exterium? Huh? What am I carrying? Who am I staring? Gosh, this is really confusing. I just wanted to say hi. What's your name, little girl? Shh. Now we're just going in circles, Mr. Shushi. There are no circles here, only rectangles. Can I please tell you my name? Huh? Oh, and what's your name, little girl? Fiddle. My name's Fiddle. What? No fiddles here. This isn't a concert hall. Go play somewhere else. No, it's my name, mister. My name is Fiddle. I see. Then my name must be Cello. Hello? Hello. How may I help you today? I didn't understand your name. Can you say it one more time? My name? Well, sure. My name is Shushi. Are you telling the truth? That doesn't sound real. It's as real as your name, Miss Violin. It's Fiddle. No, that's a book. This is a little difficult to follow. Maybe I should find different friends. Oh, that would be so helpful. Yes, thank you for offering. My manuscript. I spent my life writing it, writing a page a month. I was just getting ready to publish it, but when this whirlwind blew through the town... Oh, okay, so the variable is incorrect there. That's just because I kind of skipped the intro section. Anyways, but when this whirlwind blew through the town, it should be like 3 or 5 or 6, whatever. It should be a number, not 0. We'll just say 3. But when this whirlwind blew through the town 3 months ago, a handful of my pages got blown away. Now my poor life's work is only 95% complete, the last 5% of pages being lost. Wait, what does this have to do with finding friends? Exactly, I want you to find the pages. I'll give you a prize every 4 pages you return to me. A prize? What kind of prize? Something cute, right? I'll give you a book. Oh. There are many secrets contained within these books. In fact, you'd be surprised how much you can learn just by reading the same book over and over again. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but okay. Indeed. If you want to specialize your knowledge, I can give you multiple copies of the same book. Or, if you would prefer to be a Jane of all trades, you're welcome to pick a different book each time if you want to diversify your skill set. Is this the kind of paper you're talking about, Mr. Shushi? So right now, what Fiddle is saying, this is because I had activated the special requirement that I told you that there would be doing certain things before meeting the NPCs. Will give you slightly different dialogue and also a slight benefit. The librarian has probably the strongest, most beneficial thing for doing something prior to meeting him. But all the other ones are not so important. Even still, I would argue his reward is not super valuable. You'll see in just a moment. Let me... Is this the kind of paper you're talking about, Mr. Sushi? Let me see that. Yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. I'll tell you... I missed it, sorry. I'll give you this brochure I found the other day. It's a fascinating piece of scientific literature that talks about how you can use salt-lick crystals to center the universe's favor on you. It even has a snippet of an interview from the Dr. Quackerus about how he used to be down on his luck until he tried centering the universe using salt licks. Then afterwards, the sky literally started raining notes and women and deeds to the finest lands in the kingdom. You really can't make this kind of discovery up. I think I wrote a story just like that at school one time, except maybe without the women falling from the sky. That sounds kind of scary. Thank you, Violin, once again. It's fiddle, not violin. Once you have collected at least 4 pages in total, come back and I'll give you a full book of your choice. So there we go. Received that item. So if we go to items, you will... What? Hey, where did the icon for it go? Weird. The icon disappeared. Huh. Oh, I think I know why. Oops. I was modifying some of the icons, and actually the icon for this one is a completely like separate layer on the icon sheet that I have, and I think I forgot to turn it back on, so I'll just have to do that. Anyways, there is an icon for it, but it's missing. So anyways, all this does is, it doesn't say here, is this I would love to get this changed. This stat screen like doesn't tell you any information, but it does actually permanently boost your luck. But it's only like 5 points, I think, and it's actually not a lot. So you're not really missing out on a lot if you don't get that. So anyways, there's that. Right. Hang on, let me go back. So, when you talk to the librarian, something actually happens here. First you go through the usual thing, hi Sushi, hello Violin, and then Fiddle has a random response to that right there. How many times do I need to tell you? It's Fiddle. So that's always a random response. There's 4 different responses that she'll pick from. Now, depending on which response that she picks, it also defines what he will say if you don't have the manuscript. So he says, have you found my manuscript? And so if you don't have any, Fiddle will say, sorry mister, I can't find them. So the following response is going to be random based on the first set of however Fiddle responded to at the beginning of the dialogue. So he says, no doubt the wind could have blown them anywhere. I've been consulting with the salt licks, and the universe is telling me that some chests that the pages have been locked in are misleading. The chests might try to attack you. A chest attacking me? No. You're imagining the wrong kind of chest. A treasure chest. A treasure chest, Violin. Inspect the boxes carefully, and you'll see the damage of the creature's past battles, or so the universe tells me. So, yeah, each time, the response is different out of 4 different possible responses. So, hi Sushi, hello Violin, it's Fiddle. Have you found my manuscript? Sorry mister, I can't find them. No doubt the wind could have blown them anywhere. It could have been... I've been consulting with the salt licks, and the universe is telling me that you can probably find the pages behind puzzles. You have your wits about you, right, Violin? Fiddle, and yes, I'm wearing them underneath my dress. Then when riddles call, you answer back. We'll try again. Hi, Sushi. Hello, Violin. It's Fiddle. Oh, I think it's going to be the same one as last time. Sorry, mister, I can't find them. No doubt the winds could... Puzzles... One more time. Hi, Sushi. Hello, Violin. At least call me Viola if you're going to mess up my name. Viola, Viola, whatever. What's that guitar? What's that guitar? It's just getting worse. Have you found my manuscript? Sorry, mister, I can't find them. No doubt the wild wind could have blown them anywhere. I've been consulting with the salt licks, and the universe is telling me that at least 4 pages exist in each major realm. Isn't a major a guy in the army? Do I need to go inside Mr. Major Realm? If you wish to find the pages, then you must enter each major realm. The realm of the sea, the realm of the forest, the realm of the caves, and the realm of here. At least, I think that's what the universe is telling me. So these are just giving you hints for where to or how to find the different pages. So yes, there's at least 4 pages in the seas, in the forest, in the cave. Sorry, there we go. There's 3. And then here in the town. So, yeah. Now, next, we're going to go over here to the inn. I haven't actually done any work in the inn. However, I'm going to stop by and just tap on Traveler here. He doesn't have any dialogue, so he's not going to say anything. However, it is going to activate something. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the church. And that should hopefully be everything. I think I did all the steps correctly. So now we'll go over here to Mr. Truitt, and we'll talk to Truitt. So if we talk to Truitt, hey there, mister. I'm Fiddle, what's your name? Hello, Fiddle. Why, it's not often such a friendly young one comes to see my sanction. I'm Father Truitt, but you can just call me Truitt. Okay, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Turret. Is this your house? Where do you sleep? Do you sleep on those ugly benches? It must be really unconformable. Unconformable. I couldn't even read my own misspelling there. This is not my house, but the house of all. Child and mother, father and son, vagabond and pauper, each and every are welcome here. Although I suppose the only of the all that have attended lately are the dust mites and spirits. Spirits? As in ghosts? Yeah! Relax, child. The spirits of the all are simply the watchers ensuring the members of the community they left behind are acting in good faith to maintain this town. What? The spirits are friendly, that is what I'm saying, child. They are all spirits that were once part of this community at one point or another, and because they love this community so much, they simply linger in this realm to help guide those who are still alive to make the decisions that benefit our community the most. But there are ghosts here. Well, spirits, not ghosts, but yes. Squish them! What? Yeah! Stomp on them! Squish them in the ground! Probably should say squish them into the ground. Anyways, alright. At this point, I believe the spirits are more afraid of you than you are of them. Although, that is awfully strange. The spirits seem to find you endearing. Far be it from me to question the spirits, they have guided our community well through the centuries. What are you talking about, mister? The spirits wish to treat you as one of our own. Does that mean I'm died? No, it means you're a member of our community now. One of us. When you say it like that, it sounds like a pope. Yeah, some of the misspellings I think might be tough for people to understand what the fuck I'm trying to say, or what the fuck Fiddle is trying to say. I think pope is a bit of a stretch. But maybe if you're sharp on child speak, you might understand what the fuck she's trying to say. Anyways, what does that mean? Well, I suppose the spirits will watch you and guide you just like any other resident of our community. Though, they have some concerning requests that have me worried about your safety. It's okay, I'm an independent. I can climb a tree and fight scary things. Though that may be true, I could not possibly risk a child's life. Our community is important, but so is your safety. We'll do what we can to keep you safe, Miss Fiddle. I'm pretty safe. I suppose while we wait for the roads to clear, you should make yourself at home. Yeah, everyone is super nice. Yeah, I did. Okay, so here, I did do all the steps correctly. I see, I don't even know the steps necessary. Yeah, so anyways, yes, this is the positive response. If you have talked to everyone, all the main system NPCs in the town, so that's going to be Joy, Felix, the librarian, and Traveler. There it is. So those 4 NPCs. If you've talked to those 4 NPCs before visiting Truitt, then you get this response. Everyone is super nice, I think. The library guy is kind of weird. And Mr. Felix stutters a lot, and Battler doesn't talk. But Joy is super nice. Oh, you've already met the folks of Crossroad Commune. Oops, that bubble played on on the wrong character. In fact, actually, that I'm going to fix that now before I even forget. Let me slide that over there. Let's go to the church. Zoom in a little bit. Go here. And we're going to go all the way down to here. I want to change that to Truett. There we go. Alright. My goodness, you're really quite the friendly child. I understand why the spirits consider you a part of the community already. It's because you already made yourself a part of the community. The spirits claim that they have gifts of power for you as a fellow resident, though they have elected not to grant these gifts immediately. Although we of the All consider you a resident, it would be irresponsible to grant a stranger all the gifts at once. Therefore, the spirits have requested that you return to me once every 3 levels in order to gain new skills to help with your daily life in Crossroad Commune. It is only to help her daily life within the walls of the community, right? You aren't trying to grant her powers that will encourage her to risk her life, right? Who are you talking to, Mr. Turret? Sometimes it's difficult to trust the spirits. They are not afraid to mislead me if they feel my judgment is poor. Well, anyways, it was nice to meet you, Miss Fiddle. Yeah. Remember to return every 3 levels, and the spirits will bestow a new power as a gift for your residency. Okay, thanks, Mr. Turret. I'll come talk to you and the ghosts again soon. Alright, so that was the introduction. Now, right now, I'm not even going to talk to him without being the correct level, because I'm not sure if... So one of the bugs I was having earlier with the logic is that it would, If I didn't meet the correct conditions for unlocking the skill, it would bypass the dialogue and just go straight to selecting the skill, which obviously shouldn't be correct. It should bypass everything. I shouldn't be able to select a skill at all because I didn't meet the level requirement. I do believe I got that solved. I don't remember if I implemented it fully into the logic before starting the stream. So, I'm not even going to talk to him now, but you'll just take my word. The way it's supposed to work is that if I talk to him now, there's no interesting logic like with the librarian where he gives you hints, because there's not really anything to give a hint about on how to level up. You kill stuff. That's how you level up. Instead, it just says come back when you've gained 3 levels. That's how it's supposed to work. So, I'll just push this button, just jumps me up 3 levels, and now if I talk to him... Hi, Mr. Turret. Hey, ghosties. It's nice to see you again, child. The spirits feel ready to bestow their blessing upon you, child. You may choose a blessing that sounds the most beneficial to you. The gifts they offer are Sober Stabilizer, Heckle and Harass, and Peerless Resilience. I can tell you more information about these blessings before you commit to receiving the gift. Which blessing would you like to receive? So, obviously there's all the choices here. However, only Sober Stabilizer has been implemented. If I select Heckle and Harass or Peerless Resilience, nothing will happen. So, let's go with Sober Stabilizer. This is a truly wonderful blessing from the spirits, as it will keep you healthy. Using this blessing will of course heal you when things are difficult, but also it will give you an opportunity to refresh your state in order to keep going. Fiddle will gain a new healing skill called Cauterize the Hurt. This skill will grant greater healing to Fiddle than Mend the Wound, in addition to granting Fiddle the skill Sober Stabilizer. Fiddle will only be able to cast Sober Stabilizer while she has at least a single stack of Healthy. Sober Stabilizer will remove all stacks and all states from Fiddle, including positive states and stacks. Note, Cauterize the Hurt will replace your current healing skill, Mend the Wound. Is this the blessing you wish to receive? Yes! Fiddle learned Cauterize the Hurt and can now cast Sober Stabilizer. Come back after you've grown 3 levels. So, there we go. Alright, and I'll show off the skills and talk about them. I think they're all pretty interesting skills that took a while to work on. But, before we do that, let's show off this. So we're going to rank up the town, and we're going to show off the shop, and we're also going to show off Joy. But I need to get the town a few ranks up. So, don't mind me, I'm going to... Oh, it's processing. It's ranking up right now. I think I talked about this in the stream a while back. So I can't do anything while it's going through this whole music changing process. Now I should be able to enter again. And it's going to change. Yep. Alright. That's probably pretty good right there. So, yeah, so now let's go talk to Joy, and I'm going to talk to her a few times, and I want you to see if you can pick up on what's happening now with her logic before I explain it, give it all away. So now I'm going to talk to Joy. She still says the same thing. If I had to rate how happy the folks are on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it's a 6. Fuck! I forgot! I can't level it up too high because... God damn it! Alright. I haven't fully implemented it because... Well, the only way that I can implement it is if I have the other quests completed. So I can only complete her once all the other quests are completed. So she's only complete up to a certain point. So because I passed that certain point, now nothing happens. So I fucked it. I'll have to refresh the game in just a moment. But let's check out the shop now. So now that we've ranked this, the town up a few times, when we talk to Felix, this is what he'll say. Hi, Fiddle. I received a new shipment of supplies, so he alerts you that now he has more stuff in stock. You should take a look. Do you want to buy something? So now, if I go to buy groceries, you'll see that he has way more available in his shop. So he has a latte, a nice compliment, black coffee, a warm letter, raw caffeine, a heart-melting emission, which gets overlapped with the price. I should probably just remove A from it, and it'll probably fit in there. Why do I have to pick these long names? Anyways, now let's go to buy sundries. So now you can see there are way more options in here as well. So you have the confidence booster, healthy booster, ribbon, the best defense, the hag's hat, emerald card, whirlwind nunchuck, the full bridge rectifier, and combustion combine. So you can see that weapons get placed in here as well as other gear, accessories. So yeah, so as you rank up the town, you will get access to more stuff available from the shop. And whenever you rank up, he'll let you know that, hey, he has new stuff in stock. Now, I have to refresh the damn game because I fucked up. So, let's skip events. And now, I think we'll just need to go up to, I think 4 is the max rank that I have currently on Joy. So let's go to 4. So right now we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. So, this is 2, 3, it's going to change music. Alright. 4. Okay. Now, let's go talk to Joy. And now, maybe I can give you guys a guess at how Joy works, what I've changed about her. Okay, so she says the usual thing. If I had to rate how happy the townsfolk are, I'd say it's 4. She says, have you visited some of the folks again since after you introduced yourself? It's always polite to introduce yourself, but if you want to make friends, you should check in on them again. Alright? So I do want to say that is going to be the hint that she gives at rank 4. She will always give that hint when the town is a rank 4. However, if you talk to her again, she'll say the same thing. But then, have you talked to poor Mallory? His family and my family used to get together during summers to play and drink lemonade. I think my dad said Mallory is a basshard. I'm not sure what a basshard is, but I think Mallory is still a good guy. He just needs something that will cheer him up first. If I had to rate how happy the folks are on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it's a 4. More folks will start to show their face around town as things brighten up. In the meantime, picking up trash might not mean a lot, but over time, maybe folks will start to feel a little better with less trash around. And one more time. If I had to rate how happy the town... Blah, 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 blah. Have you talked... Okay, this is the same thing. So, if you remember, I talked about the library guy having random responses that he would give to the player. Joy is the same thing, though it's on a much more complicated scale. So we're finished with this for right now, so I'm going to close that out. So the thing is with Joy is that she's kind of the person you go to get hints around town. If you don't know where the next quest is, right? Because each of these NPCs have a quest for you, and you don't know what to do or you don't know who to talk to, then you would talk to Joy for that information. Now, here's the thing with Joy is that previously, before this change in her logic, there was a problem with it. The problem was that she would only give these hints based on what the town rank is. So, say for example, like I said, we just jumped to rank 4. So, at rank 4, she would always give the exact same hint. Let's go to rank 4 here. So she'd always give the same hint. Have you visited some of the folks again since after you introduce yourself? It's always polite to introduce yourself, but if you want to make friends, you should check in on them again. So she would at the town rank 4, she would always give this exact same hint. But here's the problem. What if the player went from town rank 1 and jumped straight to town rank 4? Now they have never seen any of the previous hints that she would give, and there is no way to access them. In a sense, you could say the previous hints are getting overwritten by the newer hint. And so that would block out some players' chance to get that information from previous times. So I put way more work into the stupid hint system than I would have imagined. Because like I said, I don't even know how many players would probably utilize her as a tool to get information. First of all, I think a lot of the quests are fairly self-explanatory. No, I'm not using quest markers. No, there isn't a journal to track this information. However, I think the quests are simple enough that players are able to keep it in mind what it is that they're supposed to do. So that already means that Joy is kind of pointless. And then it's just a matter of finding where people are, but that's fairly simple. Most of them are just right here in the exterior of the town. You just go talk to them in the exterior of town. You're not having to look all over the place. So I don't know how much people will actually utilize this hint system, but it still felt important that I got it right anyways, because it is an accessibility setting, basically. It's an accessibility feature that I didn't want to block out people, because the people who are going to be using it will likely be relying on it. They may be few, but they will be using it. So, in that sense, I built this system where it will check. First of all, it checks whether you've just ranked up the community or not. If you just reached a new rank into the community, then it will always show the newest one first. You can see here, if current rank is on, then it will just jump straight to the current rank. So if you just reach rank 4, then the first time that you talk to her since hitting rank 4 is going to be whatever rank 4's hint is. It will always be that. But after that time, she will now randomly pick any number of hints. Here's the thing though. New hints are added as the town ranks up. So the last thing I want is for the random hint that she picks to say to be a hint from a rank that the player hasn't reached yet. So again, using our rank 4 example. So if the player is at rank 4, without some sort of limiter, I guess you could call it, Joy would have the ability to effectively pick a hint from rank 9. And that would be totally useless because she would be giving a hint about a quest or something that is not even accessible to the player right now. Likely inaccessible to the player at that time. So there needed to be a limiter implemented as well to prevent Joy from selecting a hint that is beyond the player's current rank. So I had to build that in as well. So basically it just checks it compares. I'm not even going to explain the whole logic. I know it's not super interesting to look at programming, but I think it's cool. I'm proud of this. I'm proud of this little chunk of code right here. Pretty much solves all of that. Like this is all of this right here does all of what I just talked about. It solves all the problems. It also has one minor benefit to it as well. One tiny little thing I didn't talk about is why go through all the process of checking to make sure that the hint that she's giving is not over the current rank, and is why even bother checking if the current rank is even on? Like, why bother with any of that stuff if the current rank is only 1? Who cares about checking all that, because there's only one possible option at that point. So there's even a little benefit right here to this little block that I just showed off, where it just checks if the current happiness rank is 1. And if it is, then it just bypasses all of that and jumps straight to the rank 1 hint. There's also one other benefit to this. Because I'm able to jump to a specific point in the logic, I'm able to bypass certain actually, no, I didn't even do that. Wow, okay. Never mind. Ignore what I was just saying. I did something else here. So at if the happiness is at rank 1, she says something slightly different at rank 1, because it's also kind of slightly an introduction for her. So if you're at town rank 1, it still kind of makes sense because you're still at the beginning of the game for her to kind of have that like introductory information. But after rank 2, it's kind of pointless to go through all that information again. So right here, this just kind of tells it to bypass that if you're a higher rank. So anyways, I'm pretty proud of this little block right here that does all of that hint stuff. And it took me a long time and many iterations to figure this out because I am not programming savvy, and this is still not really difficult programming. So, but fuck you, I'm proud of it, all right? I'm proud of it. I did this. So, anyways, right. So now that we've walked through kind of all the systems, all the shops and all that, let's talk about those new skills. I think they're pretty damn cool. I'm going to put Fiddle here as the starting place. I'm going to mention something. This is going to be the enemy that we're fighting right here, this slime. He's using a specific skill for playtesting, but it's actually using the player's skills, so there's actually kind of a funny interaction because it's not intended for enemies to use on players. And I'll talk about that when we get there. But first, let's just... I'm going to go ahead and get all the items and rank up to like 5. That's probably fine. And let's just equip anything that increases my luck. So there we go. And now... Oh, shoot. Does he... That might have been pointless to do all that, because I don't think he actually... Oh, no, okay, alright, he does. Cool. Alright, then, let's fight him. So now I can demonstrate these new skills. I think these are really cool skills, because I call them conditional skills, because you can only use them under certain conditions, as the name implies. Basically, I already talked about cauterize the herd. So here's how this works. So I'll use cauterize the herd. If we check it, I know there's all the debug skills in here that makes this whole menu messy. But if we look, you can only see all these debug skills, and then up here we have the standard attacks, standard element attacks, blustery day, butane lighter, Faraday surge, and then of course the special skills that have been granted by the spirits from the church, from the priest. So we have cauterize the hurt, Peerless Resilience, and heckle and harass. So if I use cauterize the hurt, it's just a healing skill. So right now that's not going to really do anything. But you'll see I have that heart stack on me. That heart stack is a healthy stack. So now that I have a healthy stack on me, I now have access to Sober Stabilizer. And what Sober Stabilizer does is it removes all positive and negative effects from Fiddle. Now here's what I was talking about with some weird interactions because the enemy is actually using player skills. The player's the state stacks that get applied to enemies are different than the state stacks that get applied to Fiddle. And that's all handled through based on which skill the user is using. So if I give a player skill to an enemy, then the enemy is going to be applying different types of stacks to Fiddle than a standard. Anyways, basically what I'm trying to say is this is actually going to do nothing. That's what I'm saying. Because it's not set to cure states from... It's not set to cure the states that are currently on Fiddle right now. Those are actually different. They look the same. But as far as the database is the back end, the behind part of the game is concerned, this is different than what is normally applied to Fiddle. So anyways, but that's how that works. So then, the next thing that we need to do is we need to apply a state to the enemy. So I'm just going to try to get a state on him. Hopefully it'll be the first time. Yeah, there we go. That's why I put all the luck boosting stuff on him. So now that he has a state on him, now I can try to use Heckle and Harass. So, Heckle and Harass, if the enemy has an element stack, you can silence all of their confidence skills. Regardless of their element stacks, you will drain 10 points of their confidence. So, yeah, I mean, it does exactly what it says on the tin. He has a stack of fire on him, so I can just use Heckle and Harass, and this will basically cast a silence effect on him. And there you have it. Just like that. So it's a conditional skill. You have to meet a requirement before it's going to work. So now the next one is probably my favorite one, which is Peerless Resilience. So Peerless Resilience deals prism damage based on the number of element stacks applied to Fiddle. Regardless of the number of stacks on Fiddle, this skill has a 30% chance to apply a prism stack. So this skill will scale in strength based on how many elements. My mouse. Based on how many elements are currently stacked on Fiddle. Is this going to work? That's the question. I just forgot that what I was just saying. These are actually, it's checking for specific stacks on Fiddle, and what I was just saying is these may look the same as the ones that are getting applied on the enemy. They are actually different. And so I'm wondering if this skill is actually going to work. Well, let's give it a try anyway. So, Peerless Resilience. We'll do that. And, oh, yeah, there we go. So it did 28 points of damage. There we have it. So, it doesn't have any cool animations yet. Also, the Heckle and Harass animation is just a placeholder as well. It's just the default RPG Maker animation. So. But anyways, yeah. So those are the 3 new skills. These are the conditional skills. Peerless Resilience, I think, is my favorite because it has this kind of risk and reward thing. So you're putting Fiddle at a lot of risk by having a lot of stacks on it. So having 5 stacks could probably wipe Fiddle out within maybe 2 or 3 turns. So ideally, you don't want to stay at 5 stacks for very long. However, if you are at 5 stacks, you can use Peerless Resilience and you'll have a ×5 multiplier for the damage that it does. So it's pretty good. So, yeah. Also, the prism state, I may adjust how this works. Let's see if I can get it to apply. Oh yeah, it's applied. Holy shit. Anyways, so the prism state effectively guarantees that the next element stack that you apply, or the next element skill that you use will apply an element stack. So while he has 1 stack of prism, I'll do this, and it should guarantee that I get another stack of fire. And this becomes pretty important because of once you start getting to really kind of at this point, like 3 is possible to do. I've gotten 3 stacks on the enemies before, but it starts getting really, really difficult to apply stacks to enemies at a certain point. So having Prism help you apply stacks is pretty important. So this is not going to be the only way to apply Prism. I haven't started dealing with Prism too much yet in the game's development. I've planned for Prism to be there for a while now, but it is sort of like a late game kind of thing. So yeah, this is like really kind of the first skill that utilizes it. And like I said, there'll be more stuff that does Prism as well. So now we'll just do this. And yeah, it applies a stack. It also removes the Prism stack, I should mention. So yeah. Now, here's one thing I want to mention. You'll notice that currently I'm sitting at 3 stacks of wind and 2 stacks of fire down here. That's interesting because the skills that the monster is using is a 100% guarantee that it will apply a state to Fidel. So why is it not going up higher than this? Well, I've learned this now, actually because of this right here, because of this test battle right here. It showed me that there is a bug with the plugin I'm using for stacking states, where you can set the maximum number of states that can be stacked for a specific state, or so the documentation says. The documentation says that, like, say you want this one state to be able to stack to this number, but maybe you want this other state to be able to stack to this number. Here's the thing though, it turns out that's not correct. It turns out that whatever the highest number is for maximum number of stacks, that is per character. So, you know, for Fidel, this skill that the enemy is using on me says that I can only have 5 stacks, and that's in total, not for that state, that's stacks in total. So you can see here with 3 and 2 I'm at 5 already, and so it's not actually doing 5 stacks of wind, despite that's what I'm setting it to, and 5 stacks of fire, because that's what I set it to, but because of this bug, it's actually checking for all of the stacks applied, and it's limiting it to that maximum number. Which I feel like I just did a terrible job explaining it, but hopefully you understand. Point is that it should be 5 stacks of fire, 5 stacks of wind. But the way the plugin works is that it's just doing 5 stacks in total. Now I don't know if I really want to try to get that patched, or if I'm just going to leave it there. There are some problems with it that may possibly crop up, but I think it's actually kind of an outlying case, because in this instance, this is a test battle. Most enemies only deal with one element at a time. And, I mean, that's not to say that an enemy wouldn't have multiple elements, but the way that the game is actually designed is that using an element will replace the current stack. So you can't, what's happening here with 3 wind stacks and 2 fire stacks should never happen in the game ever, because the way that it's actually designed is meant to replace those stacks instead of add them. I don't know why it's adding them, but anyways, so it should only be either wind or either fire. It should never be both. However, as you will notice, there are other stacks that are not element stacks, such as the healthy stack. The healthy stack will count towards that maximum 5 number, so that's kind of a problem. There's also prism stacks, and prism stacks are not element stacks as well, so that prism stack will count towards that 5 number. So, like I said, there are some situations where maybe I want to get that patch, because here's the thing, I really kind of figured that Prism would become very important for reaching 5 stacks. Because what you'd want to do is at 4 element stacks, you would then want to use Prism. You'd want to use Prism to help you apply the 5th one, because the 5th stack is the most difficult stack to apply. If you remember, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder to apply a stack. So it's easy to apply one stack, it's moderate to apply two stacks, it's slightly moderate to apply 3 stacks, it's hard to apply 4 stacks, and it's very difficult to apply 5 stacks. And so that's where Prism would come in handy, is that you could effectively apply Prism so that way it guarantees you the next stack. So that way you can cast Fire and build that 5th stack. But before it removes Prism, what's that? What's that number? That's not 5. And the way that it calculates this is a maximum number of 5. That's 6. So it doesn't work. So in that case, if Prism is going to be used as much as I want it to be used, I may look into getting this plugin patched, or even just replacing it. But I don't know yet. So we'll have to see. But yeah. For now, I think that's really kind of it. Do I have anything else to say about the game? I don't know. I spent a lot of time working on those skills. Once again, I went to the RPG Maker community, to the forum, to ask for help with the skills. And once again, it's been such a great community, like very helpful, outstandingly helpful. I mean, I got a response in I don't know, it was probably an hour, less than an hour, on a forum, like an old school message board kind of forum. And it was very helpful, just explaining how I don't even need a plugin to do the scale. This all started with wanting to scale the Prism skill up, Peerless Resilience. And I didn't even realize this. There's advanced damage formula information that are numbers that you can run. So you can even see here that the calculation is actually using basically like code. And I didn't even realize you could do that with the damage formula. Not that I really know how to program very well, so I wouldn't really know how to do this anyways. So I was really glad when a guy just basically gave me this information. But I looked into this advanced damage formula kind of stuff and was able to use that, extrapolate from that information to be able to build Heckle and Harass. Which took a little bit of trial and error, but basically now allows it to check if the enemy has the state applied, and if they have that state, then it will be able to apply the it will be able to apply the other state to it. So anyways, yeah, there we go. Worked on that. I think that's really what I spent a lot of time on, as well as, of course, putting in all the dialogue. The dialogue takes a long time, especially when you throw away a draft. For the record, I mentioned this earlier. So Truitt had actually already had all of his dialogue implemented, his introduction dialogue. But when I think I'd mentioned this a couple of streams ago, I wanted to completely revise how he gives the skills to the player to be slightly better logic. I still kind of think this logic is fairly dirty. It's not the most efficient, but it's better than before, that's for sure. And while I was doing that, I decided to revise his entire introduction. So that was the first draft getting scrapped. Then, as I mentioned last stream, that my fancy new job, I don't do anything. I sit at my desk for most of the time. I think I actually do actual work, maybe 3 hours out of the entire week. So as you can imagine, it's a 30-hour work week. That leaves me with 27 hours of sitting at my desk twiddling my thumbs. So I've been able to write a lot of dialogue. And while I was at my desk twiddling my thumbs, I decided to write a new draft for Truitt's introduction dialogue. And when I got home and started actually writing it, putting it in a game, I just wasn't happy with it, and I scrapped all of that dialogue and actually wound up writing his new dialogue just right here in the editor itself rather than going into like a word processor or something like that to help me write it out. I just wrote it here, which is a little bit slower and prone to typos, but it's all right. I'm much happier with the result here than the previous 2 iterations. So yeah, anyways, it's a lot of progress that I got done. I'm pretty happy with how this game is coming along. The town is coming along really well. I think once a lot of the town has been implemented, I mean, here's the cool thing. First of all, actually, to interrupt myself as I do, here's a really cool thing. Once I finish getting all the skills into Truett's skill system, I will actually be able to properly test game balancing, because at this point, all of the necessary systems for, combat effectiveness will be in place. And so I'll be able to start a game from, brand new games from the very start, and play through it all the way to the boss of the seas and just check how balancing goes. Because now I'll have access to his skills, and as well as I'll have access to the library's stat allocation thing. Did I show that off? I didn't, did I? Man, I'm ready to wrap up the stream. I don't even know if I'll do it next time, but just, I mean, I've explained how it works. You talk to him, you give him 4 pages, he gives you a book. He does have some pretty funny dialogue for each of the different books, because he explains what the book does before you decide to pick it. But other than that, yeah, he gives you the book, you read the book, you get the stat boost. So I don't even think I'm going to show that off. So anyways, yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I can play test from start to finish and actually have access to all the necessary systems to improve combat effectiveness and whatever for playing. So I can do that and test balancing. There's also been some balancing changes that I didn't mention, because of the way that cauterize and by association, cauterize the hurt, and by association sober stabilizer. So the healthy stacks would automatically get cleared whenever an element skill is used. It just deletes the healthy stacks. And so basically, when most enemies are using element skills, like there's very few enemies that have physical attacks, that basically means you'll only have a stack of healthy at most, and it will get quickly wiped out and within less than a turn. You'll cast cauterize the hurt or mend the wound and get that 1 healthy stack, and then the enemy does their attack, which happens to be an element attack, and it wipes out that healthy stack before it even comes back around to your turn. And so that means most players would never even get a chance to use sober stabilizer, because their stacks of healthy get cleared before they even get a chance to use it. So I did make some adjustments to the balancing, where now it is a random chance whether a stack gets cleared or not, whether a healthy stack gets cleared or not. It's the same for player and enemies. However, the chance for the player to clear an enemy's healthy stack is much higher than the chance of an enemy clearing Fidel's healthy stack. So this may change the way that some fights work. As of right now, actually, only the boss in the seas uses healthy stacks on themselves. So the boss in the seas may be slightly more difficult, and also might have become a little bit irritating as well, because you want to clear their healthy stacks as quickly as possible, but now if you're relying on chance for them to be cleared, it could get a little bit irritating. So I'll have to see how that works, but that's why I'm saying is that I can now play test from start to the end of one level and just see how balancing goes. So we'll see if my changes to that works. So anyways, I think that's going to be it for this stream. Next time, as usual, we're going to take a look at the YouTube experiment, and we'll see what else has been done. Hopefully I will have done the playthrough from start to end of the boss, and I'll compare notes on how that went. And who knows what else will get done. Probably more stuff in town. I know literally every single stream I talk about getting started with the cave. I'm not going to promise anything. I'm probably not going to have it started yet. I am hitting a roadblock with it. It's not the fish thing. That is still a roadblock, but there's another roadblock. I'll mention it right now. It's that I just don't know how to decorate this corridor. This is not the correct corridor, by the way. This is just copy and pasted from the forest corridor, so they are using the exact same tiles. But I will change it, and I'm saying I don't know how I want to decorate this corridor, because the one thing is too, a lot of doors are on the north wall, but I kind of want the entrance to be to the west over here. So like, I don't know what to do in that case. So anyways, I guess really I should just start trying to figure out something. I don't know. Like I said, no promises on whether I'm starting the cave or not. Probably just continue to try to work through the town. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but I'm definitely plugging through this fairly quickly. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also actually kind of eager to get the trash in place, the trash mechanic, these things right here. Just to mention real quick, the way that this works is that it just randomly spawns trash on the map that you can pick up to increase your the experience for your town's happiness. And after collecting so much experience for your town happiness, you know, the town will rank up just like any regular experience system. So I'm kind of eager to get that implemented. I've put it off because it just litters the map with events, and when you have a bunch of events, it becomes a nightmare having to navigate through event lists, because RPG Maker doesn't give you any sort of way to quickly filter events. So you just have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll through events. It doesn't even alphabetize them. It just puts them in numerical order, which is totally useless for a user, because I don't really care what number I put it in, like in what order I put these events in. I just care about finding a specific event. It's totally irrelevant what number it is. But either way, the point is that the reason I put it off is not because I have to come up with the system, but actually because I don't want to litter this map with events. As you can already see, there's lots of events already present on the map, which already makes it complicated. That's also why I'm sure there may potentially be one person wondering why this waterfall is incomplete. Like, there's just this one little bit of water spray, I guess you could say, bubbling, when there's no bubbling here or here, and that's simply just because of exactly what I was just talking about. Is I don't want to put it there because that's 2 more events to litter the map, so I just don't want to do that. So anyways, once again, I'm trying to end this stream, so that's maybe what to look forward to next time, and until then, that's going to be it for this stream. So thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure to do all the YouTube stuff, you know, like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to check the stuff in the description. There is my book, which you can read for free. There's my previous game. It's not as good as this one, but my previous game is actually released, and this one is not, so check that one out. It's free. There's my music. It's not free, but it's definitely worth the money that it costs. Please go check it out and buy it. Give me money, please. And there's also a link to my Discord channel, which is a little bit lonely, a little bit quiet, but you can come there and help liven things up. So yeah, check that stuff in the description. That's going to be it. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see you next week. Bye.